Okay, so a lot is going on this last weekend. A lot. I mean, the frequencies were so influential this weekend. I felt it even on Sunday. Like, I seriously felt it on Sunday. I know my husband was feeling it, so I wasn't alone. It's not just me, Jillian, having an issue. Oh God, Jillian, you're gonna have a stroke or some shit. No, the frequencies are really influential. They are extremely influential. And it wasn't as bad yesterday as it was on Saturday, where I actually had to go to sleep. And what I listen to when I go to sleep is really important too, because you'll hear things while you're sleeping or half asleep. And so even when I'm dreaming, like this morning I was dreaming stuff, and I was dreaming stuff about, I think I posted something when I was dreaming. Not literally dreaming, but after I woke up from a dream. I'm gonna see what I posted, because I forgot what I said. Oh yeah, selling sobriety. Selling sobriety in reality to those under the influence. Good luck. They will need their drugs for this info. Oh, that was actually, you know what, that was, maybe I didn't say something. I think I said it in my dream, but that was what I said yesterday. But I was saying in my head, like, I think over and over again, through that, like a broken record throughout the night, was selling sobriety in reality to those under the influence. Good luck. They will need their drugs for this info. And so this whole thing with the Silicon Valley Bank collapsing, just so many things going on out there with the crazy weather in California. We're getting inclement weather and all over the world. I mean, I'm telling you, we're under so much chaos, but it's a controlled chaos. It's nothing that you can't come back from if you are not in those cataclysmic prone areas. And that's why I say, first, before you do anything, figure out where you are as far as California and near waterways and ocean and coastlines and earthquake prone areas and tornado prone areas. And figure out if your location is prudent for this climate change, and then start figuring out how to get yourself out of the market where you're not being pulled out there so much, depleting your resources, causing you to be on drugs in order to work. Okay? I mean, there's gonna be so many fronts that people are gonna have to pay attention to and figure out how to change if they want to survive all this. Because I'm telling you, when you think you have one thing locked down and figured out, another thing undermining the crap out of you. So maybe, you switched from one, industry to another, and so you're in another industry, but yet your health and wellness is now being compromised because of years and years of drug addiction or other things. And so just because you got out of one area, one sector that's depleting, doesn't mean that you have a sector inside your body that's depleting. It is depleting. So you have to look at all sides of it. So nobody in the politics or religion or in the science world will ever force me to or influence me to hate the government on 100%. And I'm going to be quite honest. Yesterday I let somebody go because, first of all, they just were love bombing me. They were love bombing the crap out of me. And then they turn around when I say something that maybe like, to them is fear. And then they're going to try to go and make me sound, or try to soothe my, fear, or say something to counter me in a nice, polite, love bomby freaking way. And I can detect that in my gut. I tolerate them until they start arguing with me and start coming out the anger. So the love and the hate come out pretty quick nowadays with the way the frequencies are. And so, there's no way I'm going to hate the government 100%. I know what's going on as far as all the crazy stuff and the changes. People don't like change, so they're going to hate the government no matter what. But you have to figure out that they're not trying to destroy everybody in society. They're trying to condition you to understand that, the mom and pop shops, the quick money making schemes, the things that people were relying on, all that stuff, that's going to go to the wayside, and you're going to have to go through some pretty aggressive changes and even forego some of the hobbies that eventually will not be, you won't have anymore. And at some point, they're going to want you to stay home more than not through all these changes. Just like when your house is going through construction and your dog and your cat, still have to live there, and you too, you keep them in a room until the construction is done because they could hurt themselves, fall into something or step on a nail or whatever. Okay, but you still give them food and water and a litter box and all that. But that's kind of what's going on. We're going through a major aggressive change, and they're going to ask for 15-minute cities, 20-minute neighborhoods type of thing. And people are going to be like, oh my God, that's so horrible. But that's what we're gearing towards. And we're going to have the main players out there. We're probably going to have Amazon, eBay, and Walmart, Verizon, maybe a main insurance company like State Farm. And we're going to have just the main companies out there that will prop up your city, that will keep your city going. And everyone's going to be plugged in. Everyone's going to be plugged in. If you're not plugged in, then you're out there, then you'll be out there wandering around until somebody picks you up and does something with you, puts you in jail, or if you're going to commit a crime because you're not dialed in and you can't even get into it. Like the grocery stores, I could see will turn into warehouses, and then the only way you can get groceries are going to be through delivery. Okay, I mean that's the worst case scenario that I see, and so anyone that isn't online or isn't plugged in will be forgotten. And that we know that was the whole plan. We know that. Okay, so accept it. Figure out how to survive with it. So nobody in politics or religion or in the sciences world will ever force me to or influence me to hate the government 100%. And so yesterday, when someone was going on about the chemical leak in Ohio, and they're like, oh God, aren't you mad? How's everybody doing in Ohio and all? I'm like, oh my God. Okay, this chick is not going to fucking let up. And every time she comes online and talks to me, I'm just like, it's a love bomb, or it's let me counter what you're saying, or let me go and just throw freaking just oozy oxytocin. And I tolerate for a minute, but it's just too much. And that's part of the charismatic religious world. That's part of the charismatic 1970s cult type of love bomb, and then turn around and find ways to, I'd say, pull you into a belief system. And it can be very subtle, especially if you love the love all the time. And I don't love, let me tell you. When people start throwing love shit at me, and they're like, oh, I love you. I mean, people do it occasionally, and I'm fine with that. It's very occasional, but when it's like an everyday freaking thing, and everything you say, someone's countering you with either love or hate, or let me argue with you, okay, this is annoying. Some people I will allow because like my friend Mike Francis Bowen, I know him from Hawaii, okay? And we've learned some lessons over there. We were part of that whole craziness that was going on in Hawaii back then. And we all disbanded, all of us disbanded from that point in Hawaii. But I get where he's coming from, and I don't worry about it. He doesn't come on my Facebook page all the time and just like ooze love and shit. I mean, okay. So there's certain people I will have patience for because I have a history with them, and they don't freaking overdo it. Some people just fucking overdo it. And when you overdo shit, it just becomes tiresome. So I get tired of that. And so then I have to cut it off. I try to tolerate. I think I should tolerate, but no. You just get tired, especially when they're countering you, especially on these things with Ohio. If you don't live in Ohio, shut up. Okay? People at East Palestine will figure it out. If it was that deadly over there, everyone would be dead. Oh no, they're having health issues. Okay, well, you know what? Half the fucking country, or even more than half, is having health issues. And they don't have a train derailment. So everyone right now is having an issue with all the triggers in the environment. But you can't tell someone that who's just gone through a train derailment and then hear the fear of the EPA or things that are dying because of that chemical exposure. They're going to be like, oh, great, now we can glom onto this thing to blame. Now the V's are not anymore viable because the V's were a couple years ago. Now it's the train derailments. Now it's the chemical leaks. Now it's whatever the fuck is the next thing someone's going to blame their health issues on. And I felt the frequencies this week, and I felt it. Okay? So I know, when frequencies get turned up, people are going to start feeling shit. And then, of course, they're going to blame it on the next thing. And so I'm not going to allow anyone coming in from outside who lives in Idaho or parts over there come in and start fucking, beating the freaking war drums. Okay? No, that's not going to happen. So I'm done with that. I'm done with that person. No offense to her. I mean, I'm not trying to be, but you got to understand that people that are in certain religious worlds that do stay off my Facebook, they don't say anything on my Facebook. That's fine. Observe silently. Observe silently. If you can't observe silently, then you don't have any business. If you can't just be balanced in how you communicate, and you're not just overly doing it with somebody. I mean, if you're overly doing it with somebody, they're going to get annoying. Do I go on a person's page and just say so much stuff. I'll give them information, when we first connect, but I don't overdo it because I don't want to have 50 million notifications of somebody asking me questions. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And just keep pulling you into conversation to such a extent. Okay? That's where you have to understand. And everybody wants to do that. Quick, put information out there, say your little piece, and then move on. And that's kind of how it is, because there's so much out there. So we have to be really, considerate of people's time. But that's like trying to teach someone freaking social media, consideration, social mores. You can't teach people that. Either they get it or they don't. But anyways, enough of that. And so I understand which side my bread is buttered on. I understand the psychological operations going on and what they were doing with the Georgia guidestones, and it's written in my book, Without Making Accusations. And so this whole thing with the Silvergate and the crypto run and the bank runs and all that, we heard about this maybe back in 2012. Alex Jones was talking about it. How did he know? Well, he was conditioning us to finally just see it for what it is. And so we're not shocked. We're not traumatized. At the Alex Jones of the world and all the people, all the little, the influencers, the conspiracy people, the whistleblowers, they were there to condition us. Did they know it? Were they manipulated when they were exposed to information? They're like, oh God, now we got to expose it, like Julian Assange. I mean, you don't know to what extent, how much knowledge they knew what they were even doing in that situation, or they thought they were saving the world. We don't know the intentions of anyone, whether it's Alex Jones, Julian Assange, any of those whistleblowers. But then we see that when people are making money, the government's not going to stop you from making money unless it's totally horrible and then you're not tied in, you're not you don't have a bunch of cronies out there that you're giving money to. So if you're making money to a lot of people, they're going to keep you going until it's until you can't ignore it anymore. Just like Epstein and R. Kelly and Weinstein, they're making shit tons of money for the government and for people, and they're getting a certain message out. They were conditioning people. And so they were allowed to operate for many years doing what the hell they wanted until they couldn't anymore, until they couldn't. And so they have to understand that the quick, rich schemes, those that were allowed to operate, under the radar, but not really because they were making so much money, eventually they will get their due. Eventually they will get whatever. And so you got to realize that's how shit works. Because we're in a great reset. They're taking all the resources. They want to get the programming, the conditioning out there, and they want to get people developing and inventing stuff. And so, the little startups, they were developing, apps for this and apps for that. And so you had all this innovation going on in Silicon Valley. Great. And so you had all these different startup companies with their apps and they were valued at this and valued at that. And they were, and then now Walmart and Verizon and State Farm and all these big mainstream companies are taking that information from those little startups and they're actually perfecting their processes. That's how it works. Just like the little people out there like me doing stuff with the J world. Biotech is using aspects of what I'm doing and doing whatever they're doing. I mean, not everyone's going to do what I'm doing as far as releasing the demons and picking shit out of your ass when you need to and facing the pain, but they'll take aspects of salt and they'll take aspects of what I'm doing and line their own pockets in biotech. You can't sell what I've invented because you can't sell pain to people. You can't sell sobriety to people. Okay, so the whole J world is not a money-making thing, but it's giving you autonomy, and then you have mental clarity to figure out what it is you'll use the government for and what you're going to rely on yourself. And sobriety is going to be the only thing, when you think about it, that's going to save people at some point when the shit really does hit the fan. Because when you're under the influence, and I don't care what it is, you'll have a hard time thinking clearly, and emotions become the go-to reactions. And you're seeing it out there. People are so emotional, and they're talking major, awesome truths, but will they survive their activism? And that's really what it comes down to in the J world, is that you need really to be sober to survive all this, to then figure out and take inventory of what it is that you're in right now. Are you in Florida and you're an activist, and you know that in probably the next 10 years, even before that, Florida's going under the fucking ocean at some point? Do you have enough mental clarity enough to pick up and move? Some people are not. Some people are just hanging by a fucking string. And so you have to differentiate yourself from those people who are really don't have the means to make any changes evolutionary, as well as make physical changes and financial changes. And so that's the whole thing with the J world. You can't sell that. That's something that you have to represent. Like, I'm representing that, but I can't sell sobriety or mental clarity to anybody unless they absolutely want to face it and first figure out how they're going to get their life picked up and move somewhere else where they're not in the path of some kind of tsunami, major cataclysmic earthquake, or tornado alley, or hurricane, or potentially being sunk under the ocean, and all that stuff. And so there's so many things. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall because I've been in the MLM world. I've been in the sales world. I've been in the conspiracy world for such a long time. I've seen all the charismatics out there. I've taken part. Shit, in the J world, I was so inundated by the charismatics, selling you crypto, selling you a lifestyle and a dream of anti-government and anti-this and holistic that and rife machine this and energy healing that and activists against the V's this. And I'm telling you, a lot of people that were in the J world the last 6 years are not going to make it. I already see those. They're still circulating within those same arguments, and they're not facing their pain. I have a question if they're going to survive this, the next 20 years. The J-Juice can kind of take away some of that uncomfortableness, but if you are relying on not feeling the pain of all the different symptoms, the things that you hold within, and you're trying to keep it at bay with salt and water and always doing waterfalls and finding, drugs and other herbal remedies to stop the pain and stop the body from releasing, I have a question if you're going to fucking survive this. So even people in the J world that have been around my information for a while, I have a question of their survival. And so at this point, sobriety is what I'm selling. And then then when you see stuff like the crypto market and all the influencers out there just beating their freaking drums of buy this, buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high, all this other, the whole stock market, then you see the writing on the wall and you're like, okay, now it's time to be conservative. Now it's time to be conservative. Clean out your freaking closets, clean out your body, clean out your closets, start over again with almost nothing and be happy with nothing until we get into a different world. And it's going to be a process scaling down your life. Okay. And so I understand the MLM world and the big paragraphs of money and fear with a remedy. I understand the whole point of the whole Rosicrucian system. Somebody said that they were Freemason last night. I highly doubt they are, but you know how people are. But I mean, if you're a Freemason, you wouldn't brag about it. You wouldn't go on Facebook and be offended by how someone characterizes it. And if you were a high-level Freemason, you'd actually be happy with how people characterize it, because that's exactly the argument you gave to the people to characterize the Freemasons in whatever way you want to characterize. That was the whole Freemason intention. It was to have you characterize them as the enemy. Because then you'll be so distracted with everything else of defending something or demonizing something that you won't take care of yourself, and the agenda still stands. The Georgia Guide says still stands. You will not survive a great reset that is going on right now. And that's the intention. That's what I'm trying to get across to all of my people in the J world is, are you going to survive your own activism? Are you going to survive everything that you're exposing and being right? Are you going to fucking survive it, or are you going to die with it? Which is exactly the intention. And I'm not saying it's bad, right, or wrong. It's just you have a choice. You can still, raise awareness, but you got to save yourself. And sometimes you can't split your affections. You got to pay attention to yourself more than everybody out there. And then when you do pay attention to yourself, you won't have the energy to go and raise awareness because you're trying to regain your own proteins and release the demons. And then periodically you'll be like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what This is what I've had to deal with because I've used this many herbs and extracts and cannabis and pills and powders and substances and detoxes and surgeries, and I'm paying the fucking piper now, and it's painful, but I can deal with it. I'm eating food. And that's the thing. That's the whole point of the J world, is that you acknowledge that, yeah, you got caught up in the bullshit, and now you're not going to get caught up in it anymore. And now here, this is your process. But I'll tell you, that's going to take a only a few can actually talk about their situation. And Audrey talked about her situation. John tried to with the recording, but he couldn't figure out the recording stuff. So he sent me his link that I tried to listen to, but it's fine. But I'll tell you, very few people will be able to talk about their process and understand what it is they're doing and why they're doing it, and still balance out raising awareness in other areas. Very few, if at all. And so, you know, I mean, some people are still stuck in like a deer in headlights, okay? And so I understand using the little guy's desperation to be rich, powerful, and famous. I mean, the whole crypto thing was like all these little guys were, you know, the NFT things. I don't know what the hell those things are, little pictures on the crypto stuff. And, you know, the Robin Hood and investing in crypto. People are just throwing their money at this and throwing their money at that, investing in this. And then when it goes under, you lose all that money, or the stock prices drop and you're like, oh, I got to buy more. And then that's how they're siphoning the money out of the little guy. Oh, buy low, sell high. Yeah, that's in a more of a stable economy where the feds aren't going to pull the rug out from under you. But when you realize the stock market and all the different companies out there are being run by feds that will just pull the rug out from under you, or give you so much rug, and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is so great, I'm so rich, until you're not. And that's the thing, is when you get so caught up in trying to be rich and famous and all that, somebody will pull the rug out from you under at some point. But first they got to siphon the money out of the little person who is desperate to be rich. And that's why I'm saying, do not try to be rich in this next world, because it's going to bite you in the ass. Okay? This is about survival and getting through this really hard time that we're going through right now with all this crazy climate change. It's not just climate change in the weather, it's climate change in the economy, climate change in your body, immune system, climate change everywhere. Climate change runs the gamut. It's everything. But remember, people are compartmentalizing things, only just weather, climate engineering. Oh no, it's your immune system. It's the economy. It's the things you invest in. It's your whole fucking neighborhood. Okay? And so you have to realize that and not get so tunneled and distracted. And that's what's going on right now. And so, so you saw what happened to FTX. You saw what happened to Julian Assange, even what happened to Epstein, Weinstein, R. Kelly. Yeah, if you're a big money maker, they'll let you make money until you can't anymore. And just like with the drug cartels and all that stuff, you see it even in movies. You know, as long as you're allow the FBI to get all those seizures of all that money, then, you know, we'll allow you to come in and out, but just give us enough of an income of the money to bring into the, I mean, that was Ozark, where the FBI and the drug cartels were collaborating. Yeah, okay, that will only last so long, right? That's the thing, is so if you're not like on that level, don't think you're gonna get rich. Just find a way to survive this. Know how to live on absolutely fucking nothing. Learn how to live on absolutely nothing. And when you realize with the J world, when you release all those demons, you won't be attached to material wealth. You won't have such a desire for so much of the food until the environment changes, and then you'll eat a bunch of food to make up for the energy being taken from you from the environment. And then you'll be at an equilibrium on some level until the environment changes again. And that's what happens on the weekends. There's so much energy on the weekends, I have to feed it. It was so energetic on Saturday. Like I said, that my system released so much crap, literally. And I didn't realize that was a predictor of what that day was going to be like, because it was aggressive that day. Yesterday was not as bad, but Saturday was insane. Okay? And so that's what you're going to have to now deal with is, can you handle the frequencies, and can you rebuild your body and release the demons? Demons could be the last 50 years of really bad practices, of all the herbs and the extracts and the surgeries and the cannabis and everything. And you're going to have to release those demons and rebuild your body, and then take inventory of where you live. Are you living in a place where you can survive the next 10 years? And when you see that map that I showed you, the coastlines of, you know, that are going to be inundated by water, coastal, you know, areas are going to be in the path of something. Start looking at where you might need to take your resources and move somewhere inland. Okay? I mean, that map that I showed you on my Facebook is my barometer. I still don't know if we're going to get hit by 10 feet of snow. But I could deal with 10 feet of snow inland. I could deal with tornadoes if they do come in. I have a basement, doesn't mean, but historically, I haven't seen like 1978 was when the last 15 foot of snow, Jason was saying. 1978. Oh, that was the same time that Lake Tahoe had 15 feet of snow, and Vietnam had all the monsoons and the rains come in and try to wash out the Viet Cong and even the American GIs. So we knew weather warfare and all weather control, climate, you know, engineering was going on even back in the 1970s. And you had the Weather Underground, again, the SDS, Students for a Democratic Society, Black Panthers, left wing, who have run our government, Obama and all the people in Congress, part of the weather underground, and then they translated into the college system, into academia, and now here we are. We're in climate change, and it's all over. And you have to realize that you have no control except to control how you're going to respond to the climate change. And you got to realize that the traditions that you've done are not going to serve you anymore at this point. Traditions were great when they wanted to have a specific outcome, but now we have climate change. Traditions are not going to work anymore. Now you have to face the fucking pain, feed the demons. And now it's time to gain some weight in this environment. If you are very skinny, if you're so super obese, it's time to figure out how to recalibrate. Okay? I'm telling you, now is not the time to be extreme in any of your views. When you think about it, realize the writing's on the wall. You are seeing indicators upon indicators, economically, immunologically, physiologically, intellectually. You're seeing all these indicators. Some people are resisting because they can't face it, because to them, they don't have what it takes to deal with all of these different climate changes and all these different fronts. And I don't blame you. I get it. That's fine. Live out your life, and we thank you for your service. Other people have the chance. They have the means to move. They have the means to evolve. They have the means to do a lot of things that people who are now are stuck. And so, we just give people room to do what they got to do, but don't force your belief system on someone else. And when I say that I'm doing fine in Ohio, I am doing fine. The frequencies are insane, but that's all over. Everyone's getting their own frequencies wherever. You'll feel it. But no, the water isn't contaminated over here. Now, over there, they might have a few things, but they have the EPA saying, okay, it's relatively safe. Oh, but the person said yesterday, oh, they're lying to you. They're lying. Don't even go there, because at this point, you're going to have faith in something. If the EPA says the air is fine and the water is fine and the tap water is fine, if they say it's fine, it's fucking fine. If you have an issue, you already have an issue no matter what. But I already see people even 50 miles away from this side say, oh God, I'm feeling the effects of the whatever chloride, the vinyl chloride. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? But that's what it is. Anytime something happens, somebody they'll be so quick to blame something. So quick. But don't realize that you have the predisposed issues in you. It doesn't matter what catalyst it is. It doesn't matter what trigger it is. Okay? You walk into an area where it's a high frequency, like a concert, you'll get triggered. Maybe you have a heart attack and stroke and die. You walk into an area that, they go into a nail salon and you smell the acetone or something. You could have a reaction from that. You walk into, a hippie store and they're burning patchouli oil or incense. You could have a reaction to that. I mean, come on. Where does it fucking end that where maybe you have to take care of your own predisposed issues and stop blaming everything around you and start looking at maybe the reason why we're in this climate change is because you're so immunocompromised. It's not going to matter if the wind fucking blows a different direction. You will get triggered no matter what. And so, yeah, right now, people who are immunocompromised are highly triggered in body, in mind, and in spirit, and they will use the politics, religion, and science for absolution. And they won't survive the climate change. But they'll be out there blaming everything and raising awareness until they can't anymore because they're so depleted. And that is the intention. That's the Rosicrucian Freemason. You made that choice. It's at your own hand. We're not doing it to you. It was not World War II. You're doing it to yourself. And I get it. Oh, I fucking get it. And so, anyway, sorry I said I don't appreciate being love bombed by those in the religious world because they want me to hate the government so much. What you need to fear, what I'm going to say, in my opinion, what you need to fear is your own health and wellness. Because some people have so much latent bullshit in their body that they don't want to release. And that's what they need to fear, is the shit that's in their body that they don't want to release. They need to fear their fear of food. They need to fear all the things that they're doing to themselves. But no, they can't take personal responsibility. It's always somebody else's fault out there, right? Okay. And so what you need to fear is, what you think about is your own health and wellness, how you respond to pain, extreme natural disasters out of your control, influential people trying to take away your money by selling you something you really don't need. And that's the thing. You need to fear your friends and family who are going to take you to the hospital at a drop of a dime. But here's the thing. My husband said, hey, if something happens to me, you better take me to the hospital. I'm like, okay, I will. I will call the fucking ambulance for you, honey. I will take you to the hospital if need be. I will not try to do anything that I do for myself to you. Because that was his fear. And I'm telling. So that's the thing. is that if you understand what's going on, then you will fear. If you haven't told people what you're doing, then yeah, you should fear your friends and family taking you to the hospital where they're going to pump you with drugs and also potentially even do surgery. And maybe you don't need it, but you know, if you haven't done things to warn them about what you're doing, then that's the thing. But with my husband, he will have a living will to say exactly what he wants. And I will honor that. I will not withhold the medical system from my husband. And so he knows that. And we talked about this weekend too, because he's feeling in pain because of all the stuff's going on. And he says, oh, if I stroke out, you better fucking call the ambulance. I will call the ambulance. I will call 911 to take care of my husband. I will. Because that's the world that he lives in. But then he has to get health insurance. Because as soon as he goes to the ambulance and go to the hospital, you know how big of a bill that's going to be? So if he wants to play that game, he has to go get health insurance. I don't need it because I'll take care of myself. I'm fine. You know, if anything that happens to me as far as in a car, it depends upon whose fault it is. And I have my own medical payments. But when it comes to something natural, right? A predisposed issue, you have to have health insurance for that. You can't play that game of, I don't want health insurance, but then something happens. Then you won't have all the fun stuff. You'll be paying freaking hospital bills. And if you don't pay them, they'll take you to court and garnish your wages. So understand which side of it is. If you want to play the game of the holistic world and the allopathic world and try to balance out with J world, okay. But if you really don't want to feel pain, then go get health insurance and go see a fucking doctor and don't play the J world because it ain't for you. You got to understand which side of it that you're on. You can't straddle both sides, not in this climate. Because the more you use the hospital system, the more they're going to try to take away your pain, and then the J world's going to bring up the pain, and then you will be in constant conflict. You might as well just go get your pain taken away and pass away at some point. Because that's exactly what you're intending. And I don't want to sell you a fucking dream. The J world is not pain-free. Eventually you'll earn it, but who knows the journey, how long it's going to be to get to that point. And are you willing to go through the process? And if your lifestyle is so busy and so full of everything, you're not going to want to sit at home and deal with the pain. You're going to want to be under the influence. You want to be cured. Well, then acknowledge that. But don't blow smoke up your own ass. Don't fool yourself. Do not fool yourself because you will be sorry for fooling yourself. You cannot lie to yourself. Not in this climate. And so then I wrote this. I distinctly remember telling people the crypto market is not a safe venture. Not only is it gambling, but it was propped up by those who were preying on those looking for a huge money grab. Get rich quick. But who got rich quick were those who pulled their money out when they knew shit was going to happen. And then all the people who invested all their money, lost everything. And hey, that's... Oh, but wait, hold on a second. It's the stock is at $1. So buy a bunch of it. So they're investing 60,000 shares at $1 and they think, oh, it's going to go up again. I'm going to make a shit ton of money. And then freaking the stock just is completely gone and they lost 60,000. That's the psychological operations. That's gambling. That's the fucking government. That's all the influencers, these MLMers are flashing their cash and showing you the trips and the beautiful family and all the fast cars and the pretty suits and the pretty girls and the jet planes. And I've seen them all. They were all over freaking prepaid legal. See, I've seen it all, guys. Okay. I've seen all the influencers, all the people who are selling you a fucking dream, and they're in Australia. They're selling you everything under the fucking sun. And some of them are employed to do that. They're getting paid maybe $80,000 and they're getting free trips. The company is paying for them for that jet plane and paying for their hotel stay and paying for that trip over there to Greece or wherever. They're like, oh yeah, I'm $1 million earner. Here, look at my lifestyle. And they're getting their whole fucking life financed by the goddamn company who said, oh yeah, here, come in and buy this legal plan and here you can be an MLM, downline and all you got to do is get all your friends and everybody. I'm telling you, I've seen it all. I've fucking seen it all. It's the smoke and mirrors. It's the money grab. And a lot of these companies like that are like in the Mormon world. The Mormons have a huge MLM thing. Prepaid Legal was part of the Mormon world. Now they're called Legal Shield. I mean, it's a good company if you're in the corporate side of it. They have good products, but the whole get rich thing, that's like crypto. MLMs, even the Lulu stuff, what is it, Lulu Row? and the makeup shit and all the clothing companies, all the, having a downline and buying $5,000 worth of merchandise so you can sell to your friends. That's made for the people who ran that company. It's not made for the little person. You know what I mean? And I bought Lulu from somebody, and then they're done with it. Yeah, it was only going to last so long, right? And so then they go and they're done with it. So they take all their contacts and dole it out to the nearest people, and then people take that's contacts, and they're going into another clothing company where they're buying $5,000 worth of merchandise, and they're like, oh, here, let me be your personal shopper. So I get emails from people who've taken my information from someone else who I knew for a fact I was working with them a couple of years ago. I'm like, I know what's going on. I know what you're doing. I know what your company is doing, is taking those contacts and selling them to whoever, to the new person coming in and selling stuff. You're buying contacts. You're buying, potential people to sell to. I'm done with all that. But that's what I'm saying, and that's in all the essential oils world. Okay, I mean, I started out with that back in 2008 when I was selling insurance, and I got into the prepaid legal, and then they're like selling you what was that, Melaleuca. That was the huge thing. Melaleuca. Oh, here are the essential oils. Let me give you a little tincture in this. Oh my God. There was no end to the freaking MLMs. No freaking end. But I'll tell you, I went to the meetings. Oh yeah, that's right. The Tupperware parties. What is it? The Pampered Chef. I mean, there's no freaking end to all that. And, so I'm out of all that shit. And people try to invite me to these groups like, oh yeah, I'm just like, no, not even going there. Not even going there. That was so 2012. That was so 2008. Time to now move on to something different. Time to now do something different, because but hey, people still have family and friends that will buy shit because they feel sorry for them, or, oh, I need a new freaking baking set. And no, I just, if I got rid of so much stuff in my cabinet. I had like 5 serving spoons and 10 this and 10 that. I'm downsizing. I don't need any more fucking junk from China, okay? I'm downsizing. And so, no, I'm not interested in all your fucking products. Sorry. So, the charismatics, MLM influencers, eventually will go to the wayside as the wave of economic destruction makes its way wherever they are. But people will hang on until they can't, right? And they'll sell their image. Oh, look how successful I am. Look how beautiful and successful, and look how healthy I am, right? And we know those are all over freaking Facebook. So we're in a new world, and I saw it coming. Once you understand charismatics and what the power leader are doing, not only are they selling you a fear, but also a dream to get rich quick. But a fear with a remedy. It's not just selling you a fear, because that's one thing. I sell you a fear all the time, but I'm not trying to remedy your situation. I'm telling you, hey, figure out how to pick up and move, or take inventory of a situation and do something different. But no, it's like people sell you a fear, and oh, here's a fucking remedy. Oh, you're going to get COVID or get this cure. I got a tincture for you. I got an herb for you. I got an extract for you. I got a freaking this for you. I got, all the selling the fear and then the remedy to that is all over freaking Facebook. Smeagol in The Lord of the Rings was the representation of somebody losing everything because they were so hypnotized by the money and the power. And so, yeah, The Lord of the Rings was so right on point. The what is it? The race of man is now is going down. Now it's the orgs are in control. And right now, yeah, the orgs are in control. The orgs are, and they're out there all over. You're seeing it on Facebook with the people who are totally drug addicted, and they're walking in weird contorted ways, and maybe they're on some really crazy drug, and you see it on like Facebook Reels, and someone's filming somebody that's in an area that's full of drug addicts, and they're acting crazy. And those are the orgs that they're talking about in The Lord of the Rings. It's the race of the orgs now are in control. That's why the race of man has to be at home more than not, because the orgs are in control. They're all over the fucking society. They're running through your goddamn yard, running from the police. That's what they're trying to tell you in The Lord of the Rings. And so Smeagol, who saw the ring, was hypnotized by it, killed his friend over it, and then started losing his hair and losing everything, lost weight, because he was so hypnotized by the ring. He was like in conflict with himself when he was looking in the mirror. I was watching Return of the King last night with my husband, and it was pretty scary. I'm like, okay, we can't watch it before we go to bed. But yeah, Smeagol was looking in the reflection, and I forget his name. One of the little hobbits was watching him do this. It was talking to himself, his alter ego, and his alter ego was like, yeah, when they're asleep, when they're doing this, you kill them and you take the ring and you run off, because the ring holds the power, and people want that fucking power. And they will sell their eye teeth, their children, their body, mind, and spirit for that power. It's so right on. The Lord of the Rings was everything. J.R. Tolkien was everything. He understood the human condition. And so you're seeing Smeagol's all over Facebook. You were seeing Smeagol's all over Facebook, hypnotized by the power they hold because of either their beauty, they have something that you think you need, and they are losing so much weight, losing so much substance. And it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. But they may not look as crazy as Smeagol, but eventually over time, give them time when people are losing their body, mind, and spirit, and they're aging out, they look like Smeagol. Okay? They will look like Smeagol. They'll do the best they can to wear a wig and do the Botox and plastic surgery, which is why the plastic surgery industry and the Botox industry and the makeup industry is such a lucrative industry. So people don't see people losing their body, mind, and spirit. And they look relatively okay on their way out the door. But you take off all the plastic surgery and all the makeup and all the wigs and all that stuff, you will see Smeagol. You will see Smeagol, and you see their life and how they were giving everything, their eye teeth for everything, to be famous, to be whatever they needed to be at the time. And so now it's time to take the makeup off. Now it's time to take the Botox off. Now it's time to stop doing plastic surgery. Now it's time to look what you actually are, until you start realizing that you can't get everything shortcuts. You got to face the fucking pain and feed your body and release the demons. If you can't do that, then yeah, Smeagol's in your future, but you'll hide behind every single filter, every single thing. And so you see that some days I look great, other days I look whatever. My past pictures, I may have had filters on them because, yeah, you're playing around with them. But this is the reality of who I am today. I'm 49 years old. I'll be 50 next year. This is no filters, no makeup, no nothing. This is my reality. And I fluctuate with the environment. And I don't need to look beautiful. I'm not selling you a fucking dream. I'm not selling you beauty. I'm not selling you anything but the reality of what's going on. And the reality is fucking grim. Not everyone's going to survive the reality that's going on. But when you let go of those dreams to be beautiful and rich and powerful and all that other shit, you'll survive this transition. You will survive the transition once you let go of your fucking ego. Okay? So when you realize what's going on, then you stop buying the stupid shit people are selling you, and you figure out how to survive this great reset. What you should be in fear of is out of control crazy ass weather and natural disasters, and being so overextended you bankrupt your own family. Remember, cannabis is sold the same way. See how people are like, have their own grow houses and trying to compete with biotech and all that. Biotech is eventually going to win out, and all the cartels right now are running California. Fine. But that's what's going on in California. The cartels are going to run it. And then, who knows how the Rosicrucians are going to handle the cartels. But at this point, there's such a need for it. They wouldn't have all these grow houses in cannabis if there wasn't such a need for it, with so many people declining and don't want to face the reality. So at this point, it doesn't matter. I don't care where the cannabis comes from, and I don't care people who take it. I really don't. Those that finally realize what's going on, you'll get off the cannabis and you'll start facing your demons. But there's some people that don't want to face them. They have to be under the influence. Okay, fine. I don't care where it comes from, as long as you're not encroaching upon me and I'm not getting in the way of you and your business and all that shit. I mind my own business. I really do. I mind my own business. It's none of my business what people do out there. Okay? So, so cannabis is sold the same way. And at this point, the little guy tried to make it big over there in California, but they're up against, the government, and they're up against the cartels. And you got to figure out that maybe that's not the place to be in, because it's dangerous. Sobriety is probably the safest thing for you. I'm serious. Sobriety is. Because when you're under the influence, you won't have mental clarity to know when you're in danger. And then when you try to get into that business, you are in such competition that people do try to cut out the competition. Okay, so the drug business is not something I want to be in any way. I don't want to be a recipient of the drugs, and I don't want to be in it and making money off the drugs. Okay, you guys can have fun with that. I don't care. Have your big cars and your beautiful houses and all that shit and play with. I'm fine with where I'm at. Okay, and so everything that was so popular and lucrative, and everyone wanted to get in it on the ground floor. So you're seeing the fallout. You will see the fallout. So get out now while you can as far as addictions. if possible, and learn how to work hard and not try to get rich quick and cut down your expenses, because you will lose everything trying to hang on to your fucking image. If anything, cut down your expenses. And so what if all the startups were to see how they can perfect delivery systems and other systems? The little guy does all the work, right? So you see all these CRISPR gene edited kids that are, being exploited at 12 years old. And then they're going to be thrown in all these different texts and books and formulas to go figure it out, and they give them everything to help them figure out. And then they only have maybe 10 years left because they've utilized so much of those resources. That little guy is being exploited for the bigger picture. And of course, there's parents out there that, like, even with the child actors, they exploited their kids to child actor, and now the child's like, 12 or 22, 23, and they lost all their money from the money they made in Adam Sandler movie. That guy, what's his name? I forget his name, but he was in the Adam Sandler movie, and his parents put him in, as a child actor, and the parents spent all the money. Look at, Britney Spears, they forced her to do all that stuff, and she was in it for years, and now she's cracking up. I'm telling you, the little guy is also the little guy is the kids. The parents exploit the kids. Okay, so even the little guy out there could be a startup. Be like, oh, I have this great idea. I mean, if J-Juice was a drug, something like that, they could have exploited me. But no, you can't sell sobriety to people. And I learned that you cannot sell sobriety to people. So that's why I have a book. And even then, I don't expect my book to be like, a national bestseller, because people want to be under the influence. They're suffering. They don't want to feel the fucking pain. So that's the thing. I already have it built in. I'm not trying to get fucking rich. I could care less at this point. I will fluctuate with the economy and all that stuff. And so what I sell, sobriety. And what I sell is that be very careful trying to get rich in this economy. Okay? And so the little guy does all the work. Inevitably, yes, too greedy, brought up on charges, like that guy FTX. His blueprint is then sold to Verizon or whoever, right? And that's the thing. That's what happens when we have given people so much latitude to go invent stuff. That's great. They get greedy and they get rich for a minute and they're famous for a minute, but then they pass away for some reason, or they finally hold them accountable for violating the law. So like DoorDash and Grubhub and all different delivery systems that are not attached to huge blueprint stocks, they'll go to the wayside. So that's why I shop at Walmart. When someone said that the reason why Walmart's leaving Portland because no one wants to go there, okay, whatever. Well, they're shooting themselves in the foot, because eventually Walmart will be the only freaking grocery store, because you won't have Whole Foods. You won't have, maybe you will, but maybe you won't. You won't have the little shops. I mean, they're going to be, when you think about it in the future, you know what the big grocery stores are going to be? Like a Walmart that has everything that you could possibly want. Not only your home goods, but also your grocery, your drugs, your health care. I mean, everything all in one. Your taxes, and maybe even, your banking, because they even have banks in some of these Walmarts, right? Okay, so you have everything under one roof, a one-stop shop, and gone are the mom and pop shops. And so now instead of, propping up the mom and pop shops, now instead of propping up Walmart, right now now instead of propping up mom and pop shop, now you have to prop up Walmart, because that's gonna be the only thing left. Because even mom and pop shops, you can't trust they're going to stick around, because they could be dealing with cancer disease and chronic illness and autoimmune disorders, and they won't survive. And you depend upon someone like when I had my website, my personal website that had it was through WordPress, and it had the group, a forum group, and people were paying their membership, and it was through a guy who had his own server, and he was part of the conspiracy world, very right-wing conspiracy world. Okay. Then I realized that once I got away from the conspiracy world and switched from that forum back to Facebook, I didn't want to rely on his server. I wanted to rely on like Bluehost, but even I didn't like Bluehost. So then I switched over to Wix and got off the whole forum type of thing with many pages and all that stuff, and moderation and membership uploads and all that stuff. So then I switched back to Facebook again and started using Wix, which is based out of Israel. Because if somebody dies and they have a server and they're not keeping up with the server, or if something happens to them, then your website is off. Your website's done. So then you have to rely on the big companies that are reputable, that are too big to fail. Okay? So mom and pop shops are not something that I would invest in my opinion, because they could fail. There's so many factors that could make a mom and pop shop fail. And so the only thing that I rely on the big companies for is for my phone service, insurance, maybe my car, if I'm driving, and for my food source. I'm not in the organic bullshit. I'm not afraid of chemicals, right? I mean, that's what people don't want to go to Walmart because they're afraid of the chemicals and everything made from China, whatever. No, I mean, I can live at Walmart. I do some streaming services through them, and that's the extent of it. And their delivery services are reliable in my area. They have great people working for them. I tip them at least $15 every single time they come by. Okay? And so in other areas it may not be so, reliable. Well, they're gonna have to figure out that system. But I'm not trying to sink Walmart in my area. Yeah, we have Giant Eagle, we have Fisher's, we have, other places like Acme. But when you think about Walmart is the biggest one, they're like, oh, Walmart and Amazon, they've just sunk all the mom. Well, yeah, because you can't trust mom and pop shops nowadays. Again, people are depleting. They are going over the government's going to be the one that's going to be now running everything. That's the way it was supposed to happen, because when climate change happens, that mom and pop shop running your little grocery store, they're not going to be around anymore because they're dealing with cancer. They're dealing with disease. They're dealing with a chronic illness. They were overextended. The bank called in all the loans because banks are failing and all this other shit. You can't trust the mom and pop shops now. Now you got to go and prop up your fucking government. Now it's time to prop up Walmart, prop up the main carriers, and then know how to use them so they don't destroy you. How could they destroy you? Because right now Verizon selling a plan. Well, not a plan, but they're saying, hey, if you're part of Verizon, you can exchange your phone for free. But if you bought your phone, you still owe money on it, then you have to pay off your phone to get that phone for free. And so if you still owe $600 on your phone, then you're going to get slapped with a $600 bill. This is what happened to somebody else. So watch the fine print. Watch for all the free shit. There's nothing free at Walmart. There's nothing free with Verizon. There's nothing free with State Farm, with any of these main companies. There's nothing for free. There's hidden things. There's hidden costs. There's fine print. Okay? So again, don't get caught up in the free and the whole I'm going to get rich quick. And let me tell you, anything being offered to you by big companies for free or anything else like that is not for your benefit. Okay? You just got to know what you owe. If you don't owe anything on your phone, then yeah, that's a good deal. But if you owe shit on your phone and you want to go exchange another phone, you got to pay off that phone. Well, I didn't know that. Well, that's, but that's the thing. Watch for the word free. So that's the thing, is when you have mental clarity, when it sounds too good to be true, it is. I don't care what it is, whether it's a remedy or a surgery or a pill or powder supplement or detox or lifestyle. If it sounds too good to be true, vacations and fancy cars and nice suits, it's probably not going to help you. It's too good to be true. We were honest from the get-go in the J world. We told you, you're going to feel shit. I had a list of everything of what you're going to feel. Oh, God, And then when they feel it, then they get pissed off at me. Well, I told you. Oh, no, but they thought that J-Jizz was like a shortcut to something. I told you. This is not a get rich quick. This is not a shortcut to feeling pain-free. You're going to face your demons. You're going to face everything you did to yourself for the last 50 fucking years if you're 50 years old. Now it's time to pay the piper. We're in the perfect time for it. You can stay home and stream and have things delivered to you and deal with how to transition from the old world to the new world. If that's not your forte, then get out of the J world. Don't fool yourself. Do not fool yourself. Don't fool other people. Okay? And so now we're seeing the writing on the wall. And I hope that the economy won't be so shitty, but it will be. How bad will these bank runs be? I don't know. That could be the start of so much. Will Bank of America, will that go down? I mean, I have a regional bank, but at this point, I can't worry about it at this point. You just gotta figure, I don't have so much money in the bank or I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna lose everything. Nah. I mean, everything's FDIC insured. So if you have, under $250,000, that'll be covered. But that's the thing, anything over 250,000, then people are screwed. That's why you have to understand the FDIC. So if you do have like millions of dollars, it better be through a bunch of big banks that are insured. Of course, all of them should be insured. But anyways, I'm going to go, but I wanted to put it out there that I knew the crypto market was pretty bad. And I'm not going to hate the government. I'm not going to hate the government. And YouTube removed one of my videos. See, I'm telling you, YouTube is very, very, very sensitive. And so that's why I don't really use YouTube, because it's very hard to know what they're going to be sensitive to. So I don't even know what year that was. That wasn't anything recent, which is fine. I don't think it has a strike on my channel. I'm going to see. Interesting. What year? Yeah, I'm not going to appeal it. Okay. Is there a strike on my channel now? That's the saying, you know, YouTube can be very sensitive, so you have to be really careful how you care. But that, again, that's why I don't really use YouTube. I've been demonetized a long ass time ago. What I'm trying to give you guys is just information to try to navigate these crazy ass waters. Okay? That's all I'm trying to do is just information to navigate these crazy ass waters. And that's it. Nope, there's no strike on my channel. Okay. So that's good to know. But again, you know, it's pretty crazy out there. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say. So you guys have a good day, and just remember that it's not going to be easy getting through these waters. Yep. There's only a warning, no channel violations. I had to look and see, make sure. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. So they're being a little bit softer. They're not trying to like freaking... Okay. All right. That's it. So anyways, you guys have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.